return to the Champions League. They've beaten Chelsea 4-1 at Old Trafford to secure a top four finish with a game to spare. And that was very much part of the agenda for Erik ten Hag, and that's another one ticked off.
Yeah, I think it was at the start of the season. I think Champions League, was it a priority? I think winning a trophy was probably a priority. They've done that. They've done the one that is probably the least popular, I suppose, but they've got a great chance to go and win a proper one in the FA Cup. So yeah, look, it's been a fantastic season. He took it deep into the season as well. You know, you think a quarter-final Europa League, which is a little bit disappointing, but we're saying before with Mario that United need a bigger squad. They need a bigger, better, stronger squad. And I think if they had that, if they would have had that this year, they could have even gone on and beat Seville and have another final to go on to, because they were playing games all the time. There's a lot of games to cope with. And they didn't quite have the squad that was strong enough to do that. But it's been a brilliant season. I say quarter-final, 2 domestic finals, and qualified for the Champions League. Now look, Manchester United as a club, I don't think they'll ever celebrate finishing third.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's not
been their style.
It's not the agenda, no. It's not where they want to be. But from last year, it's progress. They've got into the Champions League. They don't want to be playing on Thursday nights. Tuesday, Wednesday in the big competition.
You know all about Ten Hag's credentials. Has he matched your expectations in his first season at Manchester United, or has he exceeded them?
No, he definitely maxed them. In the sense of, I know him as a person. He's very calm, and he's always moving and thinking about the next step. Like, as much as this game is finished, he's already thinking about what's next. You know, and sometimes you go like, coach, take it easy. He's not like that. He will sit in the bus and sometimes analyzing already the next game he's got. So going back to what you guys just talked about, is that, okay, he got into the Champions League. His mindset is like, okay, I got into the Champions League. I won that cup. Now I got the other final. He's focused that final. He wants to win that. And it's not like, you know, sometimes people will go like, oh yeah, but he achieved that and this and that. No, he comes from Ajax. At Ajax is pressure of you have to win trophies. Bigger than what you have at Man U. But it's similar in the sense of you got to win something.
Yeah.
For him, it ain't no different that he came there. He knew the expectation. Maybe the pressure was different because it's a bigger size. But the expectation is the same.
And what will it mean for him to get into the Champions League?
For him, it will mean that, you know, it's also easier in the market. Eh? When you come in the market and you have something like that, okay, the club you have, because that is the support you have. But now you put on the table, we play in Champions League. Come on, any individual, it doesn't matter who you are, right? Yep. You come in and you look at it, you go, Champions League? Well, when I was a kid, it kept me away from school because I had to travel. So that was already one thing. They called me, they're like, Mario, you can't go to school because we're going to leave for 3 days. I said, okay, I'm coming.
That's the benefits of entering a team so young, to be honest. Yeah. But, you know, this is a team that's clearly making great strides. And I suppose the FA Cup final around the corner. I mean, that's a big one in many respects. It's a dual-edged sword, is it not, for United now? If that's his focus, it's if not to win the FA Cup, but to deny City a treble.
Yes. It has been on
which is a bigger motivation, that's the other thing.
It has been on a few people's minds in Manchester, I can guarantee you that, but that's not his objective. To stop, well, it's his objective to stop City on that day because he wants to win a trophy, of course he does. The treble's a totally different thing. Manchester United, they will be focused now. This has given him a chance, I think, to rest his most important players on Sunday. Now, I say that, he doesn't tend to do that.
No.
He normally seems to stick with them.
And you think that's been a risky policy to use at this stage?
Yes, I do. And I went back to early in the season. I can't remember who it was. I think they were beating somebody 4-0 with half an hour to go. I thought, right, take Casemiro, take Shaw off. Rest these players for these bigger games, these Seville games that were coming up. But he just doesn't tend to do that. He likes to play the same players who are winning. As he's done tonight again, he gives them a chance. He doesn't drop. He doesn't like to change a winning team, does he? Which I totally understand. But I think on Sunday...
But isn't it security? Is it not security? You know, when you know as a coach, you know like what I'm going to get. Don't you want to stick to that?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. But I think he has to...
There's got to be a moment when you veer away from it.
No, we talk about the intensity in England and how many coaches, how many of the great managers resting players all the time for these bigger games. Now, when I talk about naivety early in the season, I look back at that and think, you know, there could have been times when he took Casemiro out of the team, took these players who are the more experienced. I think Casemiro, for 7 or 8 games towards the end of the season, apart from the last couple of games, was a little bit quiet, a little bit tired. It's knowing them right times to take people out of the team.
But that's when you've got to place your faith in the backroom staff, the physios, to know who's entering that red zone, right?
Oh, no, don't.
You don't.
Let's go deep, man.
That's just watch him with your eyes. He knows, but as I said, it's very much like Pep, and I think Pep was the same at Barcelona, the same as Manchester City. When his team are winning, they very rarely change anything. And look, it's great if they carry on winning; it doesn't change it.
But do you think he's got his fingers burnt because of Anthony as well, going off injured? He's just got to be careful.
Look, sometimes you can't really. You've got to play at the time. You just sometimes you get a little bit unlucky, and he's been unlucky tonight with Anthony, but he's got some good players to come in. You think of Rashford coming off the bench. I think Sancho is looking as good as he has done all season. I'm a little bit sorry to see
The league. They scored their earliest goal, incidentally, in the Premier League this season. Casemiro, after just 6 minutes, Paul.
Yep, good goal. It's been a really good game, actually. Both teams could have scored more goals. Basic crossing. Casemiro just wanders into a space, and it's perfect for its head. He just needs to get a bit of something on it, and it's always every chance of him scoring. I'm sure Mario will have something to say about the defensive side of it.
Yeah, because if you look where Fofana and Chalobah are standing, they're standing behind, Lindelof and Casemiro. You can't be. One has to be between the two players of Man United. One player has to be there. Look how much freedom he gets. You should never allow anything like that to happen, especially away from home. These are moments where you have to be really awake of.
And looked at by VAR, as all goals are, of course, but just about onside.
Yeah, well, Casemiro, he didn't have to do any work to get the goal, did he? He just strolls through the centre of the defence where you'd expect, as you say, Fofana has to be there. He has to be there, Chan. You can't just let a forward walk into that area. And that's all he's done. There's no clever, brilliant movement about it. He just walked into a little space and managed to score the goal.
Both sides had decent chances up until half-time, but United did take theirs, or one of them, I should say, just before the half-time whistle. This was well created, Paul.
Yeah, this is brilliant from Casemiro. Good both from Casemiro and Sancho. It's a little no-look pass. I think he's trying to go over them. He goes in between them in the end. But I love the composure, the calmness that Sancho shows. Normally you see lads thrashing at it and have a go at goal. He's looking for someone in a better position. Just slides it beautifully across the box and says, Martial, go and get yourself a goal.
Yeah, but we highlighted, if you see where Azpilicueta is standing, we highlighted him because he's dropping the line too far back, and that also plays them on. And then Sancho gets, of course, he has the composure and the calmness of putting Martial in. But away from that, as a defending line, you got to be at least, if you're dropping off, then everybody has to drop. And if you break the line, it should never be your fullback that's breaking it. And that's what's happening here. And come on, we know Azpilicueta has enough experience, but he should not be able to break that line because that's crucial. He will look back at it and will say that to himself too. I went too far back.
Yeah, and Frank Lampard will be disappointed because he's by clearly the most experienced player on that field, considering the average age is, just over 23 years. But Chelsea's chances, Mario, talk to me. How good are these opportunities?
Look, guys, when you're there, they call it the Stadium of Dreams. You got to make that dream for yourself too, because if you go there and you get that opportunity, the Theater of Dreams, if you go there, you got to make sure that you score those goals, because look how many opportunities they're getting, you understand? And also some moments are, that's what I'm saying, if you have a striker, he has to be really crucial. And look what happens. He headed the ball